This is a short story. It's called The Last Haircut. Dad didn't tell me it was going to be my last haircut, even though it seems he must have known. I sat anxiously inside Dad's barber chair set before a mirror down in the dark basement of our house. Dad stood underneath the basement's sole flickering light bulb. It hung from the ceiling on the end of an extension cord. Across from me, I saw Dad's reflection in the mirror. Still in his work clothes, he wore a pit-stained button-down shirt and wrinkled khaki pants. Dad's posture had been ruined from 25 years in the barber business, thousands of long days spent on his feet, cutting hair. Amidst his pale, ghostly complexion, a pair of spiritless brown eyes cast inside dark, shadowy circles. The Winston cigarette suspended between his lips burned dangerously low on the filter, but I didn't have the courage to say anything. Through the mirror, I could see him looking up through the smoky fog to a dusty crucifix nailed to the wall above the mirror. Dad stubbed his cigarette, lit another, and then stumbled towards the crucifix. Holding his hand up, he used his fingernail to peel away a layer of dust. This was a gift from my mother, Dad said, just before she died. She gave it to me and said, "Non perdere questa, don't lose this." His fluttering eyes were traveling time. And look what I've done with it. Dad turned his back on the cross and bumped into his black tool case. 4 pairs of scissors, 3 combs, a wooden brush, clean razors, 2 uncoiled extension cords. Little pieces of dark hair, my hair, littered the concrete floor. I tried to stand up to help him, but his big hands settled my shoulders back into the chair. "Forget it, son," he said, "forget it." "Why did you start smoking again?" I asked. "Stress." "What's it like?" "What, smoking?" "No," I said, "being stressed." "Listen, son," Dad spoke through a foggy pane of smoke. "I'm going to tell you the truth. Do you understand?" I nodded, but at 13 years old, I didn't understand. I didn't understand why Dad had changed so much over the last 6 months. He gained 30 pounds. A yellow jaundice illuminated his chubby face, glazing his cheeks and nose. The swelling stain seemed to manifest deep within his skin and turned his teeth, fingernails, and the whites of his eyes pea yellow. Hidden underneath his cufflinks, an irritated rash gathered in patchy red smears at his forearms and elbows. Mother told him not to scratch them, but he couldn't help it. The cracked skin had become so delicate, it flaked off at the slightest touch, falling to the floor amongst the hair clippings. Dad's shaky hand clutched a pair of scissors just above the tip of my right ear. I didn't close my eyes, I didn't move. I welcomed the needle-sharp shudder down my spine. I wouldn't pretend not to notice the blood trickling down the edge of my earlobe. "Ah, my nodula chucho," Dad said, dropping the scissors on the concrete floor. He snatched a towel out of his black tool case. "It's nothing, just nicked you, that's all." I'd always considered Dad an artist. "Wake up, Dad," I thought, staring into his reflection in the mirror. "Wake up, practice the art of barbering." "Don't look at me while I say this." I looked down at the rough concrete floor. I have cancer." He paused, clearing his throat. "T-cell lymphoma." I couldn't take it anymore, and I looked up at his reflection. His eyes were fixed on the crucifix as he spoke. "But please don't worry, because there's nothing to worry about. I'll get better, I promise," he said, gripping my bloody ear with one edge of the towel, veiling my face from his reflection with the other. The sounds of his words piled up, a traffic jam in my head. I tried to turn around and look at his face instead of his reflection so that I could be sure I wasn't dreaming, but his big trembling hands clamped my jawbone like a gentle set of vice grips and kept my head straight. I heard crying. Men don't cry. The only thing I knew about cancer was that it killed people. A death sentence. It seemed unfair. Why Dad? Why not some greedy, evil person? For what then did Dad sacrifice so much of his life, if only to die an early, painful death? Suddenly I wanted to know everything about Dad. Like a puzzle missing pieces, I wanted them all. Dad stood so close to me, but there was so much space between us. Dad gave me my last haircut in silence. He moved clumsily about my head as though he forgot to cut hair. He trimmed my sideburns unevenly and cut the top too short on the left side. a crooked version of the flat top. He pulled the apron off my body, and dark brown hair clippings crashed to the floor. At the sight of my hair, he paused, staring down. He must have known. Dad sauntered upstairs while I waited in silence for the smoke to clear. Then, as always, I cleaned his tools one by one, soaking combs and scissors and disinfectant, coiling extension cords, neatly replacing buzzers, a small container of itch powder, a spray bottle, and a wooden-handled brush inside Dad's tool case. I found the broom and dustpan on a hook to the left of the basement stairs. That day, I couldn't wait to brush the floor clean. I couldn't wait to dump the hair in the trash can, to get rid of every piece of hair, to pretend that haircut never happened.